Hi everyone, it's Michael, and I am so excited to tell you that number 52 in my collection, my brand new Renanthera Kalsom Red Dragon, did in fact make it here successfully from Hawaii. There was a little sticker on my bag that said inspected, but it came through just fine, and I'm so happy that she is here because I was gonna be devastated if it didn't make it. But today we're gonna go ahead and repot this. Now, I haven't done a repot video in a while. Most of my repot processes are exactly the same. I don't think that this one's really going to be too different, but the big extenuating circumstance, the big change of pace for me is I have really been enjoying leveraging a top layer of sphagnum moss. I experimented with 1 or 2 orchids first, and then about 5, and then from there I've just been seeing a lot of positive impacts. Now, since the Renanthera is a vandaceous type, it is similar in its growth patterns to a vanda, but it does like a little more moisture. So that's why I think using a top layer of sphagnum moss is appropriate here. So I'm gonna do what I usually do, and then I'm just gonna add a layer on top. So without further lead in, let's just go ahead and get this process started. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take this out of its container. So I'm just gonna go ahead and gently encourage it out of its pot. I'm gonna give it a gentle squeeze. Just encourage it to release. Now it does appear to be clinging to the inside of the container, so I'm just continuing to give it a gentle wiggle and then squeeze along the edges. And here we go. So it looks like he used some styrofoam at the bottom to create some drainage, but now I'm just gonna go through and systematically remove any of the medium that I can do comfortably and easily without really damaging the root systems or wrestling it away. All right, you guys, I've gone ahead and cleaned up all of the medium that I could remove comfortably from the root system, and now I'm just gonna go and do a little bit of cleanup. So I have my clipping tools here soaking in 70% isopropyl alcohol, so I'm just gonna clean up anything that doesn't really need to be there. Beautiful. Now I'm gonna walk this over to the sink, give it a quick rinse, and we'll come right back. All right, you guys, now that the root system has been rinsed, I can see really clearly what's a healthy root, if there's any dead roots, and this actually has a really beautiful root system. You can see it even has a bunch of new guys coming in all over the place. So I think this should make a really comfortable transition. But what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to reach for my hydrogen peroxide, and I'm going to treat not just the root system, but the entire plant. I always do this as a matter of due diligence when I introduce a new orchid to my collection, just because if there are any pests, if there's anything that came riding in on this orchid, I wanna make sure that it's killed before I allow this to sit next to all of my other plants, because I don't want to create a problem that decimates my entire orchid population. So I'm just going to go ahead and be pretty generous with how and where I apply this. So I've got my entire plant and root system treated. So what I'm gonna do now is dump out the excess hydrogen peroxide in this plate so it's not sitting or swimming in a pool of hydrogen peroxide. And then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna turn this fan on and aim it directly at the crown of the plant. When the hydrogen peroxide neutralizes, it will just be water. And once it becomes water, I want to ensure that it doesn't settle into the crown of the plant and cause any potential rot. So that's why I like to use the hydrogen peroxide paired with the fan to ensure that we get all of our objectives covered. All right, the fan is on. It's being aimed directly into the crown of the plant. So I'm gonna set a timer for 10 minutes and come right back. Okay, Google, set a timer for 10 minutes.
Sure, 10 minutes, and that's starting now.
All right, you guys, 10 minutes has passed, so I'm gonna go ahead and begin the potting process. Now, the plant is not completely dry, so I'm actually going to elevate the fan and direct it directly into the crown of the plant once again until it is fully dry. But in the meantime, let's just go ahead and get potting. So I have my pre-rinsed and treated leca. So now I'm gonna go ahead, as usual, and fill my semi-hydroponic container to the drainage holes. So I picked this up from Goodwill today. It was $2, and I already drilled the holes at 5 centimeters high. It just seemed about the perfect height. All right, so we've got the leca up to the drainage holes. So now let's go ahead and place our beautiful new addition to the family. I don't think that could be any more perfect, to be honest. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take my leca and fill directly around it. So now I have it all potted up, and it couldn't look any more perfect, to be honest. So what I'm gonna do now is reach for that sphagnum moss I was telling you about earlier. Now, one of the side effect benefits of using sphagnum moss is not just elevating humidity, it's not just eliminating the dry line, it's also allowing me to help stabilize orchids when I repot them. Orchids really want to feel like the root systems are stable and have a good grip. So if they do feel imbalanced, if they do feel kind of like a teeter-totter in their pot, they may not excel as much as they could. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab my pre-soaked sphagnum moss, and I'm just going to start filling right around the top to give it some stability and a little extra moisture. All right, you guys, there she is, number 52 in the collection, looking absolutely beautiful and quite content in this potting situation. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna put some plain distilled water into the water reservoir. Again, the reason I do that is because if you use nutrient solution immediately after a hydrogen peroxide or any antibacterial treatment, it can be a little too much for the roots and burn them. So you wanna give them some time to heal from the repot before you start reintroducing nutrient solution into the equation. So I'm probably gonna wait about 2 more weeks. Now I am also going to run the fan, as promised, directly into the crown of the plant until all of the water droplets have evaporated. And with that, we're done. Thank you guys so much for choosing to spend your time with me. If you have any questions, concerns, or feedback, go ahead and leave it in the comment section below. Don't forget to click subscribe and have a beautiful rest of your day. Mwah! Bye guys.